Good evening and welcome to the special presentations of the Moreno Valley City Council on February 19, 2019. Our first presentation is a recognition of the Officer of the Third Quarter. Council member Dr. Carla Thornton will present.
Good evening. On behalf of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley, it's my honor to recognize Deputy Manolo Melian as the Moreno Valley Police Department Officer of the Third Quarter. Deputy Melian, would you please join me? Deputy Melian works with the Riverside University Health System Security Detail. In his time with RUHS, he has gained a reputation for displaying an exceptional level of kindness, compassion, and professionalism towards the patients and staff. Officer Melian has worked with his supervisors to implement a training program and to provide his peers with the necessary training to help them interact more effectively with the patients at the medical center, which is a vital component of safeguarding the safety for everyone involved. Deputy Melian also consistently makes a concerted effort to stay current on professional topics and to ensure that his peers and supervisors are aware of legislative changes. His willingness to share his truth makes him an ideal mentor for incoming officers at RUHS. Above his professionalism, courtesy, and natural leadership skills, Deputy Melian has earned a reputation for being a genuinely kind person. He has participated in an effort with multiple deputies to provide a patient and caregiver with a car battery, but Deputy Melian elected to allow his peers to receive the recognition for this outstanding act of kindness. Deputy Melian, it is my pleasure to provide you with the well-deserved certificate of recognition to being named Officer of the Third Quarter. There you go. Here tonight is Acting Chief of Police Dave Olivier. Acting Chief Olivier, would you care to say a few words about Deputy Melian?
Deputy Melian has done an outstanding job. He's one of our top deputies. He is a great teamwork. He's a great team player, outstanding teamwork, and very kind. He gets along very well with all of his peers, and he does a great job keeping everybody safe. So I have a pair of engraved handcuffs for you, sir, and congratulations. You've done a great job.
Thank you so much. And let's give Officer Melian another round of applause. The second presentation is recognition of Employee of the Fourth Quarter, and our Mayor, Dr. Exin Gutierrez, will present.
All right, so this is for our Employee of the Fourth Quarter. If I could have Alyssa Rico come up. Let's give her a round of applause for our fourth Employee of the Quarter. So just good evening, everyone. We do this quarterly at our city council meetings. We recognize high-achieving, outstanding employees, and I'm so excited to really recognize Alyssa Rico. I've actually been able to see her in action at several events in the Parks and Community Services Department, and she's done an excellent, excellent job. And just so you know, the city of Moreno Valley was ranked as one of the best places to work for by the Inland Empire magazine. So I'm really happy that we still have her here as an employee. So Alyssa currently works as a community services coordinator with our Parks and Community Services Department. She provides excellent customer service in all that she does and handles a wide range of duties with a smile. Alyssa brings a special liveliness to our Parks and Community Services Department with her spirited and fun-loving personality. Alyssa also undertook a monumental task of implementing and streamlining a citywide employee shirt program. Alyssa, it is my pleasure as the mayor to present you with this plaque. So let's give her another round of applause.
Congratulations to our employee of the fourth quarter, Alyssa Rico. Let's give her another round of applause. The final presentation is recognition of members of the Coast Soccer League. Councilmember Cabrera will speak and present certificates of recognition with the help of Dr. Exton Gutierrez, our mayor.
Good evening, buenas tardes. It's a packed room. We love to see it like this. And so tonight, for the last piece of our special presentations, we're recognizing two very important teams. If can anyone guess who we're recognizing? I think you could probably make a wild guess. So tonight we have two teams. The first is La Academia Rebels, and the second team is the Inland Empire United FC. And they're both part of the Coast Soccer League, and both worked very hard this past year to achieve 13 wins, 1 draw, and 0 losses. Can we give them a hand? They didn't lose a single time. Both teams also went on to become champions in their respective age groups and the league as well. The diligence and camaraderie learned through participation in youth programs benefits participants well into their future. These young residents of Moreno Valley make us all proud with their hard work and dedication. At this time, I would like to welcome the La Academia Rebels to the dais, and I'm gonna call your name, and if you can come up one by one as we call your name so we can give you a certificate. So first we have Damian Lopez. Adán Alcantar, Julian Castañeda, Jaden Garfias, Damian Robles, Eduardo Piñeda, José Tovar, Ángel Morales, Ronnie Chavez, Felix Gomez, and the leaders of the team, we have Coach Edson Garfias and Coach Francisco Lamadrid. Can we give them one more round of applause as a team? And would you care to say any words? ¿Gustan decir algo? Yeah? Come on up.
I just want to thank all the players and parents for giving us, me and Paco, a chance to coach these kids and able to teach these kids how to be young men and develop as soccer players. And our goal is always to get better every year, and I wish them the best. And we're going to look to get better as a team.
Quick picture.
Maybe a smile. We're going to take a couple right here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good job.
Stay right there, guys, so that these pictures.
Oh.
All right, thanks, guys. Awesome. Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations. And next, we're going to recognize our second team here tonight. And we're going to recognize the Inland Empire United FC. And first up, we have Paul Lopez. Are you the goalie? Yeah? Okay. Next, we have Christian Palagio. Edgar de los Santos. Adrián Perez. Juan Olea. Eric Mendoza. Yair Gutierrez. Emmanuel Magdaleno. Omar Sosa. Nathan Gama. Jonathan Solano. Robert Sanchez. Moises Cota. Jamien Morales. Anthony Alcantar. Derek Hernandez. And we have coaches, Coach Alonso Gomez, Coach Javier Cota, and team manager Sahara Gomez. Okay, we have a lot. This is a pretty big team here.
Oh, one more.
One more? Okay. And Josiah Palacios. There you go. Okay. Okay, we got everyone. Would the coach or the team manager like to say a few words?
Short. There you go. Okay. I want to thank all the parents for coming out today. I know some of you drove, from far, and I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for everyone, XTN, his whole team, for having us here. It's super important for everyone to support the kids because, as you know, our youth needs a lot of support in order for them to grow as productive kids and then to become, how would you say it? To be something in life, you gotta be supportive. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to guide them the right way, so they can become something in life. And I want to thank all you guys for having us here. Like I said, all the parents for coming, and I want to thank the kids for allowing me to be their coach. You know what I'm saying? So thank you to everyone, and that's all I have to say.
Let's give them another round of applause.
Congratulations to Coast Soccer League. Let's give them another round of applause. And thank you to everybody that's here, all the families that are supporting them. This concludes our special presentations. The regular council meeting will convene at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City as Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this regular City Council meeting to order on February 19, 2019 at 6:05 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by, is Frank here tonight? Frank Wright? Okay, how about Raphael? Okay, Raphael, okay. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Pastor Dan Clement from Lighthouse Baptist Church.
Good evening. Everybody put their hands over their heart and let's lead. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to come and open this meeting in prayer, Lord. I pray for our mayor, Lord, and everyone that's on the council and those that are represented. Thank you, Lord, for the freedom of being able to express our rights. Lord, I pray you bless this meeting. I think of Moreno Valley and how I moved here about 10 months ago, Lord, and I'm enjoying it here. And I pray you just give good wisdom tonight, Lord, just from you, that the things that would take place here would have the blessing of God upon them, and that the decision will be correct and pleasing to you. Bless everything that goes on. Pray this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Clement from Lighthouse Baptist Church, for joining us here tonight. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Thornton,
Present.
Councilmember Marquez,
Here.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca,
Here?
Gutierrez.
Here. Staff introductions, please.
Pat Jaques Nares, City Clerk.
Regina Flores, Deputy City Clerk.
Marshall Ironman, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Martin Kazanowicz, City Attorney.
Tom DeSantis, City Manager.
Alan Brock, Assistant City Manager.
Mike Lee, Economic Development Director.
Rick Sanzemeyer, Community Development Director.
David Lillebear, Acting Chief of Police.
Mark League for Chief Ahmad.
Kathleen Sanchez, Director, Human Resources.
Patty Solano, Parks and Community Services Director.
Michael Wolf, Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
Okay, thank you so much, and your voice is back, which is great. All right. So just a friendly reminder to folks out there that we do have Spanish translation services. So if anyone is interested, in the back, the individuals in the back, they do our translation for us. At this time, given the item E2, which is conditional use permit to develop an automobile service station I'm going to move this item to the beginning of the meeting with consensus of my colleagues to discuss public hearing item E2. And that way, any folks that want to comment on the project, you'll be able to do so now rather than wait until the way end, of the meeting. So the public comments do need to be related to this item, which is E2. Any comments related to non-agenda items, that'll be after this item. So that'll be after this one, okay? So again, this public comment period will only be for E2, which is the proposed gas station project. I also want to remind the audience as well that I know that, because I've gotten emails from both sides, and I know that this is somewhat controversial, and I just want to just remind everyone that we do have a civil council meeting here, and I will ask that we be respectful towards each other, especially to the people at the podium. And if we can't, then we will have to take a recess until everybody can calm down, and then we can come back. But my goal is that, hey, we can just flow through this and hear both sides, and then the council can make a decision tonight. So we'll go ahead and start with item E2, which is the conditional use permit to develop an automobile service station and convenience store, including alcohol sales and a car wash on 1.31 acres located on the northwest corner of Iris Avenue and Oliver Street. We'll have a report of our community development director. And again, if this is your first time here at the council meeting, if you could please be respectful towards our staff and also any individuals that speak at the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'd like to introduce Gabriel Diaz, who's our project planner, project manager for this assignment. With us this evening, we have all the staff also available to answer any questions you might have.
Good evening, Mayor Dr. Gutierrez and City Council. Stater Oil is requesting a conditional use permit application for a new 3,100.
Speak into the mic. Thanks.
Stater Oil is requesting approval for a conditional use permit application for a new 3,180 square foot AM/PM gas station operating 24 hours a day with a car wash, convenience store with beer and wine sales on 1.3 acres, zone neighborhood commercial. The project is located at the northwest corner of Iris and Oliver Street, and you can see this on aerial photo. There's your neighborhood commercial zone. A conditional use permit is required due to the proximity to residential. There is single-family residential to the east and to the south. Access to the site will be from a driveway off of Iris Avenue and from Oliver. Both driveways will be restricted to right in and right out. The project does provide on-site parking consistent with the city's municipal code. Staff has worked with the applicant who has modified the design to lessen impacts to nearby single-family residents. The design locates the car wash and vacuums to the western part of the property, the furthest away from the single-family residential. An initial study was prepared by LSA in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act CEQA guidelines. The environmental documents were reviewed by the city and reflect the independent judgment and analysis of the city as the lead agency. On December 13th, the Planning Commission approved the conditional use and adopted the mitigated negative declaration and the mitigation monitoring program for the project. The project was subsequently assumed for jurisdiction. This request shifts the approval authority for the project to the City Council. During Planning Commission, several members of the public did speak with concerns about the gas stations. Some of the concerns were noise, traffic, crime, and the proximity to the school. Notification was sent to all property owners within 300 feet, posted on the site, and published in the local newspaper, the Press Enterprise. Upon consideration and review of the project application and the environmental documentation, staff recommends that the City Council take recommended actions as proposed by the staff. This concludes staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you
Any
so
questions?
much. Gabriel?
Yes.
Right? Okay, thanks so much, Gabriel. And just to kind of recap, and City Attorney, you can chime in to let me know if this is the case or not the case. The Planning Commission had approved the project. However, the City Council, through a City Council member, Councilmember Cabrera, we've taken jurisdiction. So we're going to be hearing this item brand new.
That is correct. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, the assumption of jurisdiction basically voided the action, any action that the Planning Commission took. This item is before you as a first impression item.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and first open it up to council questions of staff. And so the council will request to speak and ask questions to staff first. And any council questions to the applicant, that'll be done actually a little bit later when the applicant actually testifies and gives his testimony. Then we'll be able to ask the applicant any questions at that moment. But for right now, we'll go ahead and start with council questions of staff. And then after that, we'll get to public comments where the community can also chime in and let us know how you feel about this project. So again, council questions of staff, and we'll just do one round. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Gabriel, for the presentation. I just have 3 quick questions. The first one, just correct me if I'm wrong, the distance of this project to the adjacent residences, approximately how many feet is that? I know it's less than 300 feet, but what is the distance there?
From property line to property line, it's approximately 90 feet. From the building of the AMPM, the one that you see here, and the property line is about 140 feet. And from the car wash entrance to the property line, straight across to the east, is 210 feet.
Thank you. Next question is the distance to the school. Now, there's a school right down the street. What's the distance there from the project to the school?
That's about 1,000 square feet. I mean, not square feet, 1,000 feet from property line to property line, and that's to the tip of the school property.
And last question, you mentioned comments at the Planning Commission meeting from residents. Were there any comments or emails or anything from the school district, from Moreno Valley Unified, regarding this, from any principals or any teachers or anything at the schools?
I don't believe so. I didn't get anything in writing. From this public hearing for the city council, I haven't received any calls or any. Actually, we did receive one letter yesterday, and I think city clerk has provided that to you.
At the planning level, at the planning commission meeting, do you recall any comments, anyone from the school district or the schools speaking on the item?
No, I believe there is very many parents or people that take their kids to the school, but and not anybody directly from the school district.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that those parents or anyone who came to speak in regards to the school, were they not really in favor of the project because of that, because of the proximity to the school?
Yeah, that was one of the items. There was talks about kids spending their lunch money on chips and soda at the AMPM, to potential crime, and then traffic, the kids that walk back and forth to the school.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions to staff? This would be the time for any council questions to staff. Okay, Councilmember Marquez?
Yeah, Mr. Diaz. How many service stations are in that approximate vicinity of this service station?
I don't believe there's many in the area. I think one of the closest one is Moreno Beach and Alessandro. There's a Chevron over there to the north. And the other one would be off of Paris Boulevard and Iris to the west.
Would we be safe to say that a service station at this location would be convenient for a motorist going to and back from the hospital, to and from the lake? Would you say this is?
This I don't think it's for me to say. The applicant obviously feels that he wants an approval, but it is a permitted use in the NC zone with a conditional use, and that's why it's before you.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, before I open the hearing, any further council questions of staff? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing. We'll go ahead and have, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and have the applicant testimony. So someone to represent the company, or I don't know if the owner is here, or, okay, there he is, okay.
Mayor, I have like 5 slips that are applicants by 5 different people. I don't know.
Okay, well, it'll just be a 10-minute for the applicant. So either you can divide it amongst you 5, or it's just 10 minutes total for applicant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council members, what I'd like to do is give a brief statement at the beginning and reserve time for the end after the other folks have had a chance to
Yes,
speak.
and
if
you'll
we
have
can-
a rebuttal for it.
Wonderful,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, then,
You'll have a period for rebuttal to come back.
wonderful, thank you. Okay, so my name is Ed Hale, H-A-L-E, and I'm a senior project manager with Barghausen Consulting Engineers, and we are the architect, the engineers, and the project managers on behalf of the applicant, Sater Oil. I'm here with Mr. Mike Sater, his sons Hassan and Abraham, as well as their vice president, Eric Levon. We also have Mr. Glassman from ARCO is with us here today, and we also have our environmental consultant representatives from LSA Associates. That would be Mr. Ray Hussey and also Jason Lee, who is a senior noise specialist. And we anticipated that the noise would be part of the discussion today, so we've brought him along also in case there's any questions regarding the technical aspects of the report that was presented before you. I'll repeat what I said at the Planning Commission meeting, and that is that we've been enjoyed working with the staff, the senior staff at the city, not only the engineering staff and the planning staff, but the traffic engineer, et cetera, et cetera. This has been a very gratifying experience, somewhat grueling, I'll admit. Our applicant has spent well over $350,000 in design and other development-related costs in order to get us to this point. And that doesn't include the land acquisition costs themselves. We have been working very diligently with the staff, all the way from the pre-application meeting where we gave them our initial site plan. The site plan went through, I would say, 10 or 12 different iterations as we continued to work with the staff to address very specifically the issue of the fact that we were putting a commercial property right on the corner adjacent to a residential property. But when we went into this discussion with the staff, it was the understanding that the city has published codes, development standards, and design guidelines that are designed to mitigate the impact of a commercial property immediately adjacent to a residential property. There are unique development standards for that purpose. And in every case, we met or exceeded the city's demands, whether it be the codes, the development standards, or the design guidelines, and even the subjective preferences of the staff members themselves. At no point have we pushed back. We've not asked for any variances. We haven't asked for anything above and beyond what any other applicant should be expected to get from the city and moving forward with this. The applicant, in good faith and based on reasonable expectations of approval, closed escrow on the property based on their discussions of the city and senior staff members on what they would expect from us in order to get approval. We were shocked and very surprised when we found the objections at the Planning Commission hearing. We really didn't expect that coming. We got a little bit of a heads up because a similar project further north had run into similar problems, and so, but we were still caught off guard. Between the Planning Commission hearing and today, we have embarked on a massive outreach to the community. We have walked and knocked on doors of over 500 residences asking for their input on this project and being willing to hear from them. We sent letters to the neighborhood asking and inviting them to come to hearing in order for us to explain more fully what the project has entailed. We felt that a lot of the objections, a lot of the concerns that were expressed at the Planning Commission hearing were based on some erroneous assumptions, misstating of the facts, and otherwise simply not understanding what it is that the owner is trying to develop on this piece of property. And we hosted 2 meetings where the applicant actually invited people to come to hear their concerns, and no one in opposition came to any of those meetings. None. We had a number of gratifying conversations with neighbors, and we expect a number of people that are here today will actually be speaking in favor of it, and once they had a chance to hear from us. One of the things that comes up when a discussion like a gas station comes up is that the impression is this dark, dirty, noisy, busy operation that's going to be a nuisance to the neighborhood. The ARCO convenience store model is one of a neighborhood market. There will be fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, a plethora of healthy food alternatives. It's not your typical chips and beer stopgap. This is a neighborhood market. We will be providing people for those last minute items to and from their way to work, and it will be much, much more like a grocery store than a gas station. To the question of how many gas stations, obviously the applicant, before he invested the millions of dollars that he did in the purchasing of the property and the hundreds of thousands of dollars in the numerous technical studies and the design costs, et cetera, was done after a market study. We fully expect to capture a huge portion of our customer base will be people that are already driving by the intersection and will be stopping in and buying gas. The neighborhood will be buying gas at this gas station. They'll be washing their cars there, and they'll be picking up milk on the way home for dinner. We don't expect this project to draw people that otherwise wouldn't be already driving by. We're just simply capturing them for the opportunity to sell them quality gasoline at a reasonable price, as well as the accessory uses of the gas station, the car wash and the convenience store. I know that probably spoke even longer than I intended, and I'm sorry, but I'd like to reserve the time to be able to respond later, of course, at the end, and then I'm here for any questions that the council members have on the project.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and start with council questions towards the applicant. Okay, Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Are you going to sell hard liquor?
No, we will only sell beer and wine and packaged for carry out only. No hard liquor.
How about tobacco products? Are you going to be selling tobacco products here?
Are we going to have cigarettes? We intended to, yes.
And is that going to be sold single pack or carton?
Again, I'm going to defer to the operator. Both, yeah. So it would be both, just like it is at a grocery store.
Okay. The reason I asked that because there was some concern about school kids stopping by to spend their lunch money, and you know how kids are curious at that age. I'm not that concerned with the cigarettes, and I don't believe that the children should be out there buying lunch. They should be on the campus at school. But is there going to be any type of security present on the property during?
Yeah, I'd love to answer that question. First of all, it's a grade school, I believe, and I don't believe the grade school kids are allowed to leave for lunch. So it'd be only the interactions that might occur before or after school. Of course, there will be security. There will be a great deal of security. There are very, very strict local and state laws with respect to how alcohol and cigarettes are marketed and displayed. All of the cigarettes are kept out behind in the back of the clerk who would be rendering, so there's no immediate access to it. There is a requirement to seek identification for anyone who even comes close to 35 years old. You know, that's our policy is 35. If you look like you might even be 35, we're going to still card you to make sure. And then I'd just like to point out that there are conditions of approval that were approved by the Planning Commission that address things like lighting, security, attendance, et cetera, et cetera. And finally, our alcohol license will be conditioned on a number of things that the local the local police department can impose upon us, that they have access to direct communication with ABC and can request those conditions to be imposed upon us. But I can tell you that Mr. Sater wants to be a very good neighbor and is not going to push the envelope on this at all. He's a family man, didn't let his kids smoke, and he's not going to let kids smoke anywhere near his store.
And the hours of sales for beer and wine, what are those?
You know what? I don't immediately have that in front of me, but those are conditions that are given to us by the city. We have to obey those, whatever those are. So, frankly, I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't recall. I read the staff report, but I don't recall what it was. But you guys lock them up anyways within those hours, correct?
We lock them up when we're not allowed to sell. That's correct. And the lights are turned off on the display cows.
Excuse me. Okay. And that's it. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for coming out and giving a presentation and being willing to answer questions as well. We appreciate that. I was going to ask as well about the alcohol and tobacco. That pretty much answered the question. So you do plan on having those sales there on site in packages, not singles, but in packages. So my next question kind of has to do with the security as well. I don't know if you answered it or not, but do you plan on having any kind of on-site security there at the gas station?
There won't be a security guard. There won't be a uniformed presence there on a regular basis. There are security procedures in place for the staff. Of course, there's cameras that cover the entire area that are recorded and put off site so that those can be recorded later, and there's signs that point up and tell everybody that there's security. There are procedures in place for cash handling so that the cash is put away and that the staff doesn't have access to that, so that minimizes the inducement for robbery, for example. Very well lit. It's very bright, happy family environment that we're going to be doing for the decor. And then as Mr. Sater has come up to speak, I expect he's got some answers to those questions that he'd like to get.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Sater. I'm the owner of the property out there. After the Planning Commission meeting a month ago, I took notes what was the concern of the public at that time. When we walk the community for the 4 days we did, 2 weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, and we send letter to everybody to meet a couple times. The people came in the Planning Commission, nobody came to those meetings, so I decided to go to them. So we went back to the community, we picked up the address from the city, and I knocked everybody's door to explain to them what we're doing and how we do it. And I was planning to talk in the end to tell you the concession I want to make to ease their concern, especially Mr. Cabrera's concern, because he appealed the project. First, they were talking about the noise. The other item, they were worried about the liquor, the school, and the security, and gas deliveries at night. So I want to start with the noise. The noise, we're closing the car wash at night. It's going to be, I guess the time is 8 to 9. So at night, we're going to be like anybody else. Car drive by, typical car, they stop for gas and leave. For gas delivery, easy, we do this all the time. We request no delivery at night. Very simple, ARCO does it all the time, and we have a representative of the company here could let you know. Now liquor, we're not selling any liquor. We're selling beer and wine. So to make this very simple and easy and secure for you guys, we're not gonna sell any bottled beers. No single bottled beer, no single cans, all pre-packed by the manufacturer. And we're not buying any type of beer except the national brand. We're reducing our doors from 10 typical doors to 6 doors for this project. We're losing sales. Plus, I'm not gonna sell any wine. And You're the guys recording this, so you'll know I'm telling you the truth. So we're not selling any wine at all. So we minimize this. Plus, the door will be locked during the typical hours. We ordered, as I promised when I met with all of you, the latest POS system. When somebody come to order, whatever they are, whatever their age is, we slice the delivery through the POS system, purchase of sale equipment, and it will tell you if it's over 18 or 21. It will block the sale, period. The cashier cannot overrun it. He need to call the manager to come in to override the sales. So we're paying all this extra just to make the community happy as much as we can, and at the same time have a profitable business. For the school, I have a drawing I like to show you a little bit. I have 4 kids. I understand the people worries. So this is exactly what we're building. This is where the homes are, and the south side and the east side of the property. The north side is retail and commercial. It's empty lot now. And the west side is retail and commercial and empty. And then we have the hospital here. So the school is right here somewhere. The school is right here somewhere. So, yeah.
I'm just.
The school. Oh, okay. So there's no homes this side of the property. So nobody is gonna come and walk this way. Technically, logically speaking. Okay, and the people here, if they want to go to school, they're gonna walk this side of the street, going to the school. Nobody is gonna come this side, go up there, and then cross again the street, go back to the school. The people in the south side, they have no traffic in the signal light here. They're gonna cross this way and go straight to the school. Even that, I'm willing just to keep everything safe. I'm willing to put a guard in the morning in case, to make everything safe. The hour 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 or 7:30 to 8:30, so everything will be safe out there, and we'll have a security guard to make sure. But I'll guarantee you 99%, if not everybody, is gonna go that way. I sat for 3 days watching how the people walk out there. There's not too many goes that way, by the way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sater. I just want to get to the council questions, okay? So, go ahead, any further ones?
Yeah, thank you. And so my last question actually had to do with just trying to ensure that since you will be selling beer and possibly wine, although it will be packaged, what precautions you're going to take to ensure that even though someone will purchase it, it will be in packages, but as soon as they walk out that door, what will you be able to do so that they don't just open it? Because as you know, we have a homeless issue here in California. So that's my concern there, because our police department is already strapped. They're already constrained because of what we currently have and the resources that are available to them. So you're mentioning that you'd be willing to put a security guard on site at the gas station.
No. I didn't say that. I said for the kids, we'll have willing to put, when the kids comes and leave school, to put security guard outside. But for people buying beer, precautions for people eating or drinking on site, we have a security camera inside, outside for that particular location. We don't display any live beer outside. So when you walk to the store for this particular location, just to put you in ease in the community, we're not gonna have a display inside the store. There is beer in it. It's gonna be cases, empty cases. So no one could get to beers at all. It will be inside those 6 doors that I mentioned to you. So when they go buy it and they'll take it, they leave it to their car or they walk out to go home, I have no control of that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sater.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember
Have
Dr.
sign, we will have
Okay.
sign, you're not allowed to drink or on the property.
Okay. Councilmember Dr. Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Sater, I have a question for you. I'm sure you can empathize what it was established during the staff presentation that some of the homes were less than 300 feet away from the gas station. And I'm sure you can empathize with some of the noise that's going to be caused from having cars come in and getting their tanks filled, or the car wash and vacuuming. So let's say, hypothetical, you have a car come in and they're blasting their music. And I think you said before, you're not going to have a security guard there. So they're blasting their music and they're loitering in the parking lot. They have no plans on moving anytime soon. What policies are going to be in place for the staff to intervene in that? Will there be signs in the parking lot saying the loitering rules or not? I just need a little bit more information concerning that.
We've been on this business for 37 years. We faced some of these issues. We have instructions. The no loitering. If we see someone out there, we directly go and tell them you must leave. If somebody was the radio on and up high, we go outside and ask them to turn it off till they leave the property, and they could turn it on. There's so much we could control out there, and some stuff we cannot control. But noise, regarding the car wash, we already met and agreed to the hours where we don't have to interfere. It won't interfere with any neighbors. We do it daytime only, and we shut it down at night. For people with car running high noise, we'll come out and make sure they turn it off.
Thank you. We have Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
I just had one question. Is the car wash 24 hours a day?
No. It's
So the
only
hours of
daytime.
operation.
It's only daytime. I think that it calls for 8 to 9. And we agreed to that.
Thank you.
My question has to do with the beer. What hours can they buy the beer?
The hour set is from 6 to 1:45, but we could go any hour that you guys recommend. And by the way, for the noise, we have done a study by professional engineering company, and we have the engineer here. If you have any question, we could respond. We met all the code that are required by the city.
Okay.
That the noise to the property line is less than what needed to meet the code.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sater. Thank you.
Mr.
All right.
Mr.
Any
Mayor?
further council questions of staff? I mean, of the applicant? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I was just going to provide clarification on the hours of operation you've asked about. On page 285 of your packet, in the middle of the page, it talks specifically about both the operation hours for the car wash is going to be limited from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., so not 9. And then the only hours that are limited with regard to the beer or wine sales would be the locked cabinets from 2 a.m. in the morning until 6 a.m. in the morning. And that's what's reflected in the staff report.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and start hearing public testimony. Thank you to the applicant, and then applicant will have an opportunity for rebuttal. Okay, Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have tonight?
19.
Okay, we'll go ahead and count the first 3. 3 minutes.
Alex Musino, Dottie Smith, and Graham Baldwin.
Okay, if those applicant or the public can please be ready. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So Alex Musino. Oh, okay. Or Dottie, do you want to just go right now and then Alex? Since you're already there.
I thought I heard my name first. Anyway, as you know, my name's Dottie Smith. I live south of Iris on Oliver. And the first thing I'd like to say was that I was amazed to hear that there'd been such extensive outreach, because the first I ever heard about this was last week when somebody mentioned it on the neighborhood app. And the sign saying that there was going to be a hearing didn't go up until the end of last week on that corner. So I don't really think that there has been sufficient public time for this. I believe that the gas station is unnecessary. There is an ARCO 3.3 miles from there. There is a Shell station 2.5 miles from there. And there is a Chevron 1.5 miles from there. So it's not like people have to go across town to get gas. I feel it's way too close to the middle school. There's already a horrendous traffic problem there in the morning and in the evening when school enters and school gets out. And also to speak to what the gentleman said about how people wouldn't go by the gas station, I see when I'm out walking in the morning, I see a group of teenage boys, or young, they're not even teenagers, they're middle schoolers, probably anywhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 of them riding together on bicycles straight down Iris and turning left onto Oliver to get to school. I think that's just a pipe dream that people aren't going to go by there, and that kids aren't going to go out there and try to get, even if they can't buy, try to get adults to buy for them. We know this happens all the time. So there'll be students hanging out there. I'm also worried about homeless hanging out there. For myself, very selfishly, I guess, I'm concerned about my home value. There is plenty of information online that tells you that one of the worst things for your home values is a gas station. They're not attractive. They make a lot of noise. They could cause a possible increase in crime. The toxins from the gas station. And even though they may start out looking really pretty with nice landscaping and everything, in time they're going to go down, and that will bring the entire neighborhood down with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next speaker.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Alex Musino. I've lived in Moreno Valley for 32 years, since May of '87. Same neighborhood and same house. When I first moved into Moreno Valley, I was working in Orange County for 3 years after I bought my home. I commuted every day, every weekday, and every other day I had to purchase gas. Gas is the location of a gas station, you can say, is a convenience. However, it's got to be on the right side of the street, on the right side of the highway when you're either going or coming from work. I like convenience. And this station that's being considered today is not just a gas station. It's a convenience market. It's a car wash. It's 3 operations in one. Older gas stations were just served fuel. It had a small kiosk. This is basically a miniature supermarket. I've been very familiar with the construction of these type of operations. This is a store that's built on it's going to be built on 1.31 acres. Older gas stations were built on 15,000, 20,000 square feet. Very tight. This store, the design, access, parking, and circulation is AAA. At my age, I like convenience. And I would like to have a gas station across the street from my house, if I had one, instead of going down the street to Heacock, fight the traffic, the car stacking, going to and from, trying to get to and from an on-ramp. It's hectic. This location is very suitable for this type of operation. I support this project. In my 32 years, I wish I had a gas station across the street from my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Musino. We have Graham Baldwin.
Good evening. My name is Graham Baldwin. I've been in the city now since 1984.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been in the community since 1984, and in my current home since about the year 2000. A couple of things that I'd like to add that have been mentioned already in this particular presentation. by the folks that just preceded me. One of the things that has not been pointed out to anyone here today is that in addition to the bordering on two sides of this proposed project as a residential area, to the immediate left and the west of that is a dialysis center. Guess what gasoline has in it? Benzene. Guess what benzene contributes to? Kidney failure. This dialysis center is open 81 hours a week, and it's the closest habitable section next to the gas station. The applicant also pointed out the fact that there shouldn't be any concern about anyone going from the elementary school up to this particular facility. Well, he didn't point out, but the folks before me did point out there's a middle school. People will be going from the middle school and to stop by the convenience store. It's common knowledge. The EPA has come up with a study that indicates that children walking within 100 yards are dangerously exposed to benzene. Again, area-wise, California, the Kaiser Permanente Hospital, which is open 24/7, is a half a mile away from this project. As far as the convenience store itself goes, located within about 4 minutes drive is the Chevron station. Within 4 minutes drive is the Shell station. As far as convenience is concerned, within about 4 minutes or less is the Stater Brothers, which has a lot more to offer with regard to the different products that the applicant wants to sell than they would sell. It's also been pointed out by certain studies that have been done by the CDC and the American Public Health Association that if you live near a gas station, the perceptions are such that it seriously depletes the value of your property. There's also indications out there, if one can look up online, that if you are within 300 feet of a gas station, you're not going to get an FHA loan. Got some other points I'd like to raise, but I think I've said enough for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. We have Yolanda Fresquez, followed by Hannah Fresquez and Abraham Sater. Okay, if the other speakers could please be ready as well. They could line up. We have Abraham Sater and Hannah Fresquez. Okay, Yolanda?
No, my mother actually chose not to speak. I'm sorry. So I'm Hannah Fresquez. I've lived in Moreno Valley for 25 years, all my whole life. I've seen the growth and development of the city as it's gone on. This project is a positive. I support it. It's another growth and development that our city needs to see or can see. I've seen it from it being just, dirt landscapes and potentials to what can and can't be set up. But I support the project and hope to see that this ARCO station be a benefit and a positive to the area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. We have next three speakers, Abraham, followed by Roy Bleckert and Ali.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abraham Sater. Dr. Gutierrez, I learned a lot about you the last couple of months. One thing is clear to me. You and our company are working towards the same goals. You've created over 14,000 jobs for the city. Like you, our gas station will bring more jobs to the local community. Dr. Gutierrez, you are heavily involved in the community, especially with the youth. Our company has a history of reinvesting into the community. We are a family-owned company. We will not neglect the voice of the community and the families that live within it. And I believe that our actions have shown that. We've walked the homes near the project to speak with the residents and hear their concerns. We've hosted many meetings to hear their voices and of the community, so we could work together to make this project for everyone. I created a Facebook page for the project to engage more people in the community. I was able to answer many questions and concerns and gain support. We have other projects in the city, and we look forward to growing and developing together with the community. We want to build a solid and productive relationship with the city. Dr. Gutierrez, If there were any company that you want to add to this city and this community, it's this one.
Thank you, Abraham. Next three speakers.
El Presidente Trump's got this economy cooking. And with that, you know what you need? Is gas stations, convenience stores, and car washes. You know, these developers do a lot of market research just like the one. If there wasn't a demand for this, they wouldn't put it in. Every opportunity we have to do this. People talk about traffic. Yeah, it creates it because people got to drive 10 miles or 5 miles or 3 blocks out of the way to get gas. On top of that, a lot of the elitists that are coming up here in Moreno Ranch and this council that voted for workforce apartments in Moreno Ranch on the golf course, you know what those people want? They want gas, they want their ho-hos, and they want their beer. And I don't want them driving clear across my area to get it. If you want that in your area, then accept the consequences and put it in there where it's at. It's how you make all this stuff work. I heard the comment of benzene. Most of you probably wouldn't know what it is. It's highly concentrated in race fuel, and I'd probably breathe more of it in than everybody in here combined. And if it's very bad for you, then how do I look this badass at 57 years old? So let's knock off the rhetoric and all the BS and the grading ordinances and stuff. You know, people that are right about that probably never moved a stick of dirt in their frickin' life. I have. So I can tell you when they're writing letters and saying this, it's all a bunch of BS because they never did it. They do not know how an economy works. Anybody that protests this does not. You rejected they ran the last gas station out of this town that did that. You want to run another one out. You almost cost the Winchell's Donut one on there. You're not fixing a lot of these problems. We need to get this stuff done. We need to make our economy work. As far as the ghetto blasting, you know what? You want to get rid of that? Hire more cops. They're the ones that can go out and arrest that. We got noise ordinances. And you know how you do that? You get revenue from businesses in here that can get the revenue in to hire the cops. This stuff is real simple. It doesn't take rocket science to figure it out. We make it a lot more complicated than it is because we do not deal with the truth and what the facts are. The facts is the people in that community wanted this type of stuff, wanted this development in there, so they should accept the facilities that provide it for that area. Don't send it or don't cause traffic problems you're creating like that. Pass this project and let's get on to building a better and brighter city.
Okay. Thank you. Next three speakers is Ali, followed by Jonetta and Dennis Leon.
My name's Ali. There's definitely nothing I can say that can top that guy.
Okay.
Pretty much explained it all.
If you could just speak in the microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, he pretty much explained it all. But I'm here to support the project because I honestly think we need I really do need a gas station in that corner. That's pretty much why I'm here. So yeah, let's pass this project.
Good.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. All right.
Hi, my name is Janetta Brooks, and my bedroom window looks right over into that vacant lot there where the gas station would be. So I have two higher windows. I don't hang curtains there. But there's something called light pollution. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to need to hang some curtains so the lights don't just shine into my bedroom from the lighting the gas station. I'm here not so much because of me, but because of kids that are going to be here 15, 30 years after me, because I'm not a rocket scientist, but organizations like WHO and have done studies and found out that, yeah, benzene levels are real. And yes, children somehow are affected differently from adults. Their lung volume or base to their stature, they become more affected. More cases of cancers in children up to the age 15 that are exposed to these chemicals. How do you get disposed? How do you get disposal? One is at the gas station. At the gas station, or places where cars congregate, where motors are running. So they did some things for the gas hoses to make sure that the fumes didn't escape. But yes, some still do escape. That threat's not eliminated. The school is 1,000 feet away. Children will have to come by that area. And where I live, they go right on up the mountain home. Lots of children on skateboards, bikes, and walking. Those kids will be exposed. Let's see. I wrote some things. Yeah, so it takes that long. Over 15 to 30 years, that's when you'll see the damage. That's when you'll see increased rates of diseases, renal disease, cardiovascular, and lung disease. And if we can do something to, not for us, I mean, I'll be dead in 30 years, but if I feel like I've somehow helped the young people, then I'll feel good. Talked about tobacco. You sell tobacco. What about the tobacco-free things? That comes in all the candy flavors, and the kids like bubblegum this and all of that stuff. Where you sell that stuff. And about the gas station being on the right side of the street. That gas station is the same side of the street that the other two gas stations are on. I think I've said enough, but yeah, that's it. Oh, and one other thing, I was looking at a little thing. It says, gas stations vent more toxic fumes than previously thought. And this is October 2018.
Thank you, Mrs. Brooks.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Next, three speakers is Dennis Leon, Jay Brunn, and Rafael Brugueras. If you could please be ready.
I just want to say that I didn't receive any notice or any letters or any emails or anyone knocking on my door. I've lived on Oliver, off of Oliver, at the top of Oliver for 19 years. And no one has mentioned that that intersection is very dangerous. There's been at least 6 people killed at that intersection that I know of, and nobody's mentioned that. And if you're going to put a gas station in, when we bought in the area, we bought because it was a residential area. Our property values are going up. We don't need a gas station there. If you want convenience, drive a little bit. The Chevron station at Alessandro there is very good. Go there, or go to the service station on Paris Boulevard. But no notice was given. This is the first that I heard of it when somebody put a flyer on my door over the weekend. And Councilman Cabrera, it's your area. You should have informed us or sent out some information that this was happening. I'm a little shocked. We were all there for the golf course project because we knew about it, and they kept us informed. But I don't want a gas station there. We don't need it. You have kids there. That's in my area where I walk every day. I walk 5 miles a day, and that's on my route. And I know that kids will be there. We don't need it. There's plenty of gas stations that people can go to and plenty of convenience stores. And we have 2 Stater Brothers that you can go to that we waited till we got those markets that improved our community. And if anything, I'm surprised. If you're going to put a gas station in, it should have been down maybe on the corner of Iris and Nason where there's nothing there, but not by the houses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Leon. Next 3 speakers is Jay Brunn, Rafael Brugueras, and Dennis. And it looks like the same person. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Jay Brunn. I'm with Areas Commercial Real Estate. I'm here on behalf of Inland Land Group. They're the owners of the property that surround the subject proposed project. I am here on behalf of them and was asked to share with you that they would like you to support the project. They purchased approximately 19 acres at this location 15 years ago and have been, staying close to the city and staff and watching the market in attempts to have the property developed, certainly not wanting it just to sit fallow. Mixed-use projects are very challenging, and that's what this has become. As most of you, or I would expect all of you, are aware, the Fresenius building is on the subject property. That is still owned by the ownership of the remaining land, and they are looking to see the balance of the property developed per the direction of the city within the guidelines of the general plan. They feel that the balance of the project is going to be benefited from this. Gas stations are literally anchors to small retail centers, and what they're proposing at this time, what ownership is proposing, is basically retail on the front 3 acres of the property, and then, as you can tell, mixed use with medical complementing the hospital in the rear. So the spark of the gas station would be something that would be extremely welcomed, and it is very standard in the industry for gas stations to anchor small retail centers. We marketed the property extensively, and the only area of interest that we received was, in fact, of any significance, was in fact from gas. There was in fact a competition, and the Sater Oil Group won the competition. In closing, I would like to thank the staff for their guidance. The design of the gas station, C-store, and car wash fits with and flows with the balance of the property quite well. And once again, we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next 3 speakers, please. Rafael, Tamar, and Patel.
Good evening, Mayor, council member, staff, residents, and our guests. To Cabeda's first question, no school board members came to dispute. Second, to Marquez, as you heard, they're 3 miles and 1 mile apart. So there's nothing around the whole area, no gas station at all, okay? In 1993, when I moved out here, Moreno Beach and Iris, there was nothing but raw land, nothing but dirt out there. Not even Kaiser, nothing was built out there, okay? Today we have R5, tract homes, okay? That's on one side. The other side is commercial. It would have been nice if the realtor would have told the buyer what might be built across the street. But who knew that today we're talking about a gas station? We have the Kaiser, that's on commercial property. That is commercial property. Gas station, car wash, 1 car wash. Not 12 car washes, 1 car wash, just like the one on Alexandria and Moreno Beach. 1 car wash. At least this project is not going to sell alcohol. The one on Alexandria sells everything, alcohol and everything, and loose bottles. At least this one, this developer is going to do the right thing by selling by packages. And this developer is doing more modern things than any other ones. Okay, he has the higher walls, okay, landscaping. He's doing everything right that no one else done yet in any other gas station, okay? I do feel for the residents that live across the street from the corner, but there's distance among each other. And this gas station is for the neighborhood. In the planning meeting that I attended, a lot of people say, oh, people from outside are going to come to the gas station. No, nobody's going to come from way over from the south side, the east side, to buy Arco gas station in the middle of the block. That gas station is strictly for the neighborhood, for those that drive by and come in and out. Okay, you know where there's more gas, more fumes? At the school, when all the parents pick up their kids all day long. They park on the property and on the street for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, morning and afternoon. They throw more toxin than the gas station will, okay? That is a true fact. And we got plenty of schools that do that every day, 5 days a week, okay? So don't blame the gas station for doing the right thing. This is a great project for that community, for that neighborhood, and I hope it gets approved tonight.
Okay, thank you. Next three speakers, please.
Hi, my name is Tamar Chapa. I'm here really to speak on my mother's behalf. My mother lives in the area. Everybody's speaking about how close the Chevron and the Shell and all this is. My mother doesn't drive, she walks. So she needs all the conveniences possible. She needs to be able to walk where she needs to go. And I myself, I can't afford Chevron or Shell. I do go to Arco. I use their gas. It's cheaper. It's for my convenience. So I do want to see the project supported, only for my mother, but other elderly people, because I see a lot of people that cannot make it to that Chevron or make it to the Stater Brothers nearby there. I really think it's a good idea. Also, I've struggled with employment, so I know it would bring jobs to the community, and that's what we need. We need to think about our community. Let's not think about homeless. Homeless is everywhere. So that's something that the community needs to fix, not just one store. We cannot blame the gas station for the reason being kids buying tobacco. No, the community needs to stop that. The schools need to stop that. The parents need to stop children. I myself have teenagers. I know for a fact that if we don't come together to stop the kids from using drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, it won't ever stop. Not one gas station is going to stop that. And we won't allow people to come in. If police are there, if police are in the area, nobody's going to allow. Nobody, sells kids tobacco on purpose. That could happen anywhere. Not in that community. It's a good area, and it needs a gas station closer to those homes. I don't feel that everybody is looking at this. The people that are speaking are the people that can drive their cars to Chevron, to Shell, that can afford that higher price gas. Arco is a lower price store for a reason. It's a nice convenience store, and it fits the community and their budget. Thank you. Please, please support this project. Thank you.
Mark? Okay, next three speakers. Mr. Sante.
Hello, my name is Sanjay Patel. I oppose. The true reason is that, as one of the lady has already mentioned, about the prices may go down of our property, and everyone is talking about alcohol and tobacco. Have everyone thought, when the school is nearby, what about the energy drinks? Nowadays, the children and the young students are getting more and more energy drinks who are attracted, and the caffeine drinks. So it is not advisable to have a gas station near the school like that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Gerardo Rios, and followed by Carol and Jennifer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerardo Rios. Everybody that's for this project doesn't live where I live. Okay? I'm 300 feet away from where this proposed gas station is going to be. Our community is a community that has a school, that has a hospital, that has a lot of kids that walk around. That gas station is going to be situated on a blind corner. Okay, Moreno Beach, as it turns into Iris, is a blind corner, and there have been several fatal accidents at that intersection. Now, add traffic to that. Let's add vehicles that are going to go try to fill up their boats going to the lake. Okay, those are going to move slowly. They're going to jump in, and we're going to have a potential for another accident. There's kids walking all the time. I don't want to see any kid get hit there. The transient problem, you know what? It starts localizing itself in the commercial zones. Okay, you look at any Arco station, and I'm not trying to vilify anybody here that's proposing this. Okay, but here's what's going to happen: the Arco station, all of them, they're all sketchy. Okay, they're all sketchy. I'm going to be honest. That's what it is. Do I feel safe going to Arco? You know what? I'll go to the one on Moreno Beach, and I'm good down there because I can make it down there. So when we have this proposal endangering a lot of our children who are holding up signs right now, okay, that worries me because we're heading in the wrong direction. Okay, our community was built with the school, and that's what our community is. We don't want that gas station there. And I'm speaking as a resident that is 300 feet away from where this is going to be at. The other concern I have is safety. You have a gas station that's going to be there, and you know what? Honestly, it's a matter of when they're going to rob that store. Okay? If they go in there and they rob the store, there's an armed robbery, what's going to happen? Our resources are already stretched thin. Okay? The response time is going to be what? It may take a little bit longer, but guess what? School's going to get locked down. Kaiser's going to get locked down. Dialysis center's going to get locked down. My neighborhood's going to get locked down. Now, my family's going to be sitting in fear, sitting in our house with the windows locked, trying to see, oh my gosh, what's going on? And that's the Those are the concerns that we bring as that community. We got referred to as a problem. Okay, this is the same problem that we had the last time we tried to bring a gas station. I'm not a problem. I'm a resident. Okay, and I don't enjoy working with you. I enjoy being a resident of this city. Okay, and if I got 20 minutes, if I can give that to somebody else, I'll give it. Thank you very much for hearing me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Okay, next speaker. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Carol Hafter, and I'm a retired teacher. And I would like to speak to the fact that children will go out of won't have to go out of their way to go buy their junk foods, their chips, their cookies, their sodas. They will be able to walk right past. And there are studies that show that children who eat all these junk foods do not do well in school. And I would like to protest or say that I do not support this school or this gas station because of what it will do to the kids. They are the future of Moreno Valley. So you need to start protecting them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hafter. Next three speakers is Jennifer Gomez, Sharon Thomas, and Leo Gonzalez.
Hi, good afternoon. I just quickly wanted to say that I support this. I live in Aslan, close to Hemlock and Ironwood, and it's just very convenient for me to go to the Arco AMPM right there. I see people get carded there all the time for tobacco. So for them to say all these flavors for tobacco, that it brings the children into it, smoking it, I just support that they card people, even people with gray hairs, that get offended. And it's perfectly fine. Everybody should get carded for that. I just briefly want to say that I do support it. It's convenient. There's milk. They could sell eggs, cheese, ham, bread, a lot of things. Again, like I heard one of the speakers out there say, people don't have cars. Not a lot of people. So a lot of people would like to walk and be close to that. Once again, I just want to say I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Sharon Thomas, followed by Leo Gonzalez, and then our last speaker, Pete Hurtado.
Good evening. I didn't plan to speak. I just got off work, came straight from work here, and I'm shy. But listening to this, I bought my house in 2003. I remember you knocking on my door during the election time, and we spoke for about 15 minutes. I oppose this from the bottom of my heart. I just really, I have so many things. Gerardo pretty much nailed my thoughts, but I live on the corner of Oliver and Turnberry. I've had about 3 people knock on my door, one at 4 o'clock in the morning, who was a doctor who had been mugged. And I think about you putting a gas station there, and you're bringing in different, homeless and others who, I'm really concerned about that. And I feel if you want to do something for our community, put a youth center there. That would be the best thing you could put there. And I just wanted to say I work every day. Sometimes I leave my home at 5 o'clock and don't get back until 5. So I had no contact. I got a flyer, just like the other gentleman said, a flyer on my door saying they're planning to build a gas station there. Nobody knocked on my door, nothing. So I vehemently oppose the gas station. It may be convenient for some, but I've had people knock on my door asking for gas money and, being mugged. I don't want to open my door. I mean, I feel sorry for someone who's mugged. I could call the police for them, but I don't want to open my door to somebody, at 4 o'clock in the morning, or worried about my cars or my property when I leave my house every day. So I vehemently oppose it, and thank you very much. And I plan to send you an email. I just didn't get around to it. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Okay, followed by Leo Gonzalez and then Pete Hurtado, and then we'll have the rebuttal of the applicant.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Ms. Carla Thornton, congratulations, everybody who won the election. If I haven't congratulated you yet, congratulations. I know I haven't been here a while. You have the letter in front of you. It's on the record that was submitted. You know, addressing different environmental concerns. I'm sure the applicant will probably respond to that like they did last time. But I do want to point out the distinct difference between, you know, somebody mentioned the fact that there was another gas station just a couple months ago, you know, that the applicant quit halfway through. He heard the residents. And, you know, I think we had 54 speakers that were in opposition. And yeah, there's a different feeling tonight. There's a different vibe, you know, because this applicant doesn't want to partner with the community like Mr. Ali did with the Shell gas station. I mean, just in the vast difference between the outreach alone, you know, this applicant did outreach just to say they did outreach. He doesn't really want to partner with the community like the other developer did, and I believe he submitted new plans even. I think that was something that was being thrown around. Yeah, I just want to point that out because a lot of the people that are coming up here in support, I never seen before. The people up here that oppose it, I'm pretty sure we've all seen each other's faces at one point or another. So I do want to point out to that fact. I know the numbers are more in favor of the support than the opposition, but you know, I think that's an important aspect to figure out is what developer really wants to partner with the community and really cares for the community, and who just wants to put a project in and say, hey, sayonara, good luck with it, and let you guys deal with it. So that's why you guys get paid or, you know, get elected to do the tough decisions, you know? So whatever the council decides, what the council decides, but there are other measures, of course, to, you know, to fight this type of thing. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last speaker, Pete Hurtado.
Good evening, everybody. Council, staff, good evening. I think we're at a crossroads here. I think it's, and generally, I think the way I see it, I think it's more of a moral issue than anything else. Ulysses, Cabrera, XDN, you guys have been to our neighborhood. You guys have sat there and seen the faces of our neighborhood. And so when these people come up here saying that I live in the neighborhood, you guys know whether they live here or not. You guys know their faces because you've seen them in front of your faces before. So, Victoria, you haven't given us the honor, but one day maybe you can come down and talk to our residents. And Carla, you're new, congratulations. And, you know, we welcome you in our community as well. But what I'm saying about the moral issue is you have to give credence to the issue of the school, the children that are there. I mean, it's a very false statement that there is not going to be an issue there. We all know that gas stations create problems. You guys being up there, you guys have probably heard all the reports of gas stations causing problems. It's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's a question when it's going to happen, right? So you guys are here and been elected to represent the residents of Moreno Valley, right? So what that says to me is that you guys will put the interest of the residents before anybody else, because it's the residents that actually put you in office. So you guys have been through a lot of these, and you guys know that developers hire people. I mean, it happened with the last one. They hire people, and they come and I don't know what they pay them or make what promises, but they do that. And they try to manipulate the council and saying, hey, the numbers are there, but in fact, they're not the real numbers, because the real numbers are the residents, the people that elected you guys there. So I'm here to oppose the project. Again, it's not in the right area. It's going to cause problems. So you guys have the ability today to stand up for the residents that truly live in the area and say, we're not just giving a golden ticket to everything. We're actually have a moral compass and do what's right for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and have a rebuttal of the applicant. If the applicant can please approach the podium. Okay, so this is the opportunity for you to do a rebuttal.
Thank you. So there were a number of issues that were raised during the public comment period. Nothing really new has been and shared here. The question of whether or not a gas station is necessary or not is really a question for the free market to decide. Marathon Oil, Arco Gas, and Mr. Sater, these people are in the business of investing millions of dollars into properties for the purposes of selling gasoline, and they don't put gas stations in a place where they don't think that there's a need for it. It's a successful company. It's a successful model. There's no doubt in our mind, and as he's laying his money on the line here, there is a need for a gas station, and people will come and buy gas. They will come there to have their cars washed, and they will come to enjoy the convenience store. A tremendous amount of concerns have been registered regarding the closeness to the school and the concern for the safety of the children. I'd remind the council that this area has been designated and has been designated for a very, very long time, even before the residences were built. This has always been intended to be a commercial zone. The city has indicated and asked for commercial developers to come to this location and build commercial properties. And there's been no evidence. There's been fears, there's been anxiety, there's statements like everybody knows, but the fact of the matter is that the city required us to hire licensed professionals who ostensibly work for the city. They don't work for us. They charge us to pay their fee, but in fact they are not advocates for the project. They're advocates for the codes, the development standards, and the design guidelines that the city has published. And we have paid them an inordinate amount of money, well, a lot of money, not inordinate, a lot of money for them to tell us how to design this project to meet all of the published standards, including the air quality standards that are published. California has the strictest air quality standards of any state in the United States. And when we proposed a gas station at this location, we were required to hire an environmentalist, environmental engineer who specializes in analyzing the emissions from a gas station based on the volume of gasoline that is pumped. And we are restricted to the number of gallons that we can pump based on that permit that we received from the Air Quality District. And that includes sensitive receptors and their proximity, including the hospital, the dialysis center, the residences, and the school. These are all taken into account, and they are part of the air quality study, which is one of several of the technical studies that is attached to the initial study that the city required us to do before we got to this point. And so while it's understandable that there is concerns, those concerns are shared by the state of California and the Air Quality District, and we're required to meet or exceed the standards that are published by the state, which by their definition defines what is and is not safe. I heard one of the commenters was concerned about light pollution. That wasn't something that had come up before. We are required by city code to do a lighting plan, and that lighting plan includes a light design that specifically limits the amount of light that can leave the site to be 0 lumens at the property line. And so there'll be shielding. There will be a lighting plan that must be approved by the plans reviewers for the city to make sure that that is in fact the case. And it's a code violation if it's deviated from. We can't really answer to the question about the notifications. The city is the one who does the notifications, and we simply provide them at the list. But we did knock on the doors in the neighborhood. We did. We don't guarantee that we've tried to touch that we were able to talk to everybody, but we certainly made the Herculean effort. With respect to Mr. Gonzalez, his testimony regarding what I can only describe as a spurious allegation is that we didn't and try to work with the community. I personally invited Mr. Gonzalez to dialogue. I handed him my card. I asked him to call me. We were willing to sit down and meet with him. We made numerous attempts to call him, and he did not respond. We tried. And I'm testifying to the fact that I specifically invited him to sit down with us and talk and find out what the concerns of his group were, whatever that group is. We haven't been able to find anything out more about it, and I question the sincerity of their objections, because we haven't been allowed to communicate dialogue other than by getting a letter the day of the hearing. In every case, we get a letter to respond to, and then we have to respond suddenly. We haven't had a chance to really sit down with him, even though we've invited him. And with respect to the concerns about the residents and the commercial, I would remind the council once again that this is a commercial property. It's going to be a commercial property sooner or later. It's going to be a mixed use. There are going to be cars there. There are going to be businesses there. There is going to be retail there. That's a given. And finally, I'll end with this. The applicant worked very hard with the staff. We communicated exhaustively. Thousands of hours of our time was invested in designing and meeting the city's published requirements, the state codes, the design standards. What message would you be sending to other businessmen like Mr. Sater, who are looking to invest and become partners in this community, if you can pull the rug out from under him this late in the project? What a chilling message that is to businessmen who are looking to invest in the city.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing, and we'll go ahead and start with the council deliberation. Okay, I'll go ahead and we'll request Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. And so before we take the vote, I just want to summarize my thoughts here, and I want to thank all the residents, everyone who's come out here tonight. I know some folks had to go home already. Like one resident said, she came here straight from work. And so I know it's very difficult to come from work here and then have to go home and be able to go on with your day. So thank you to everyone, whether you're for it or against it, for coming out here and spending this evening here to speak. So in regards to the project, I am concerned with the proximity to the homes directly across the street. It's very, very close to those houses, and also the proximity to the school. It's extremely close to the elementary school right down the street, the middle school. And also I hear folks saying that there won't be liquor sales, but beer and wine is the same. That is liquor. That's alcohol. It's all the same thing, okay? So I just want to make that point. And then there will be tobacco products as well. Also, the tax revenue that will be produced by this, in my opinion, there might be minimal new revenue produced here in the city. But my opinion is that the majority of the revenue produced by this gas station will be revenue that was already, money that was already spent at gas stations and Stater Brothers right down the street. Instead of being spent at those stores, now it will be shared with this gas station. So maybe the revenue will be minimal. It will be very small. Also, the property values that are going to be negatively affected by the houses across the street. That's also that's important, because this is arguably the nicest area, the nicest neighborhood in the entire city, and that should stay that way. I also think there's justification in the argument regarding crime and accidents. Actually, one of the administrators of Moreno Valley Matters, most of us here are probably familiar with that, had an accident there with her children in her van about maybe 3 or 4 months ago on that corner, and that was without a gas station. So one resident, I think it was Mr. Rios, mentioned about boats will be coming to this gas station now. There will be slower traffic, more traffic. I don't think that will make this matter any better than it currently is. Also, Mr. Sater, I appreciate you coming out and, to see you working with your sons. That means a lot to me because, I have a father-son company as well with my father. And so, I just want to say I appreciate you coming out here with your sons, meeting with me, and being willing to do business, to continue doing business here in the city. But in regards to this project, I think with everything that I said already and the location of it, it's not the right location for this project. It should be further away from these houses. Before I conclude, I also want to mention regarding notices to residents. Currently, the requirement is within 300 feet that we have to send out notices to houses, whether that's letters, and then also putting the sign on the property saying public hearing notice. But a couple months ago, I actually requested, and we gave direction to staff to look at increasing that, because for a long time I thought 300 feet is nothing. It's not enough. And obviously it is not, because I think that number needs to go up at least double or triple what it currently is, because more people, more residents who live in the vicinity of these projects need to be aware that this is happening. And I wish maybe I can do more outreach myself, but I also want to ensure that residents understand that as council members, we have to stay neutral on projects until we're up here in public hearings giving our testimony. So if I go out there, start knocking on doors, and it can put us as council members in a very gray situation. So we have to be careful with that. But I'll try to do a better job of informing residents of projects that are coming here in the city. So that's all I really wanted to say. I'm not in favor of this project as it is. And I also, again, want to thank everyone, all residents, for coming out here tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Next council member to speak is Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Kaiser. We have several other medical offices there. County Medical Center further down. Not one employee, not one administrative staff, not one person from that hospital opposed this project. Wouldn't you think that these are the individuals that would oppose a project if it was dangerous to have a gas station in that area? I would think so. I mean, come on, they're medical people. They know better than we do. Other than
Hey, please be respectful.
Other
Please be
than
respectful.
staff, all I could say is I just don't understand. I'm concerned about health also. I've always been concerned. I've got children. I got 10 grandkids. I got 4 adult kids, and we all live here in Moreno Valley. But you know what my biggest problem is, if it's a health problem, then our staff would have turned it down and say it's not a good project because of health reasons. But our staff does a great job, a wonderful job, and I applaud them for that. So if they couldn't find nothing unhealthy, then I don't think there is anything unhealthy. Secondly, someone brought up about a youth center. This organization called Culture Assembly for, I can't read my own handwriting, but development, I believe this is the same organization that we had the golf course when they were going to put a Boys and Girls youth club there. They opposed it, and they even sued, my understanding. So when we're talking about a youth center there, and then the same individuals are applauding it, well, what about the golf course? I just don't understand that. Property values. What is the difference between this service station and the service station on Paris and Cottonwood? Now, commercial, yes, that was commercial. But that one on Cottonwood and Paris is going to be built with liquor next to a church, across the street from a dispensary, and down the street from a school. And we have 50 gas stations in the area. What's the difference? It got approved to be built. So what's the difference? You're going to say because the residents in that area don't have nice homes? Well, I'd like to see you go out and tell the residents, you guys don't have a nice home, so we're going to build the gas station here. And see how they take it. Yes, there are nice homes in this area. There's a lot of nice homes. But don't use that as an excuse. The next thing is property values. Same thing. Property values aren't going to go down. There's a lot of people that like gas stations, and it's convenient for them. This is not a gas station you just run in and get a beer and walk out. This is going to have fruit. This is going to have a better variety of foods than some of your other gas stations that sell pop, energy drinks, candy. This is a different convenience store or service station. You know, here's another, talk about schools. What about the schools on Bay and Paris? There's an elementary school, and what's around there? Gas stations, businesses, homeless, and soon to be a cannabis distributor center. And nobody talks about the schools there? Well, here we're talking about what's too close to the school. Well, you know, that's a good argument. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse to oppose this project. You know, there's other situations here that I've heard from the residents that oppose this. Reports. Well, you know, there must be 1,000 out there. So you pick the one that says, I'm against this gas station, but the next report says it's a good for gas stations, blah, blah, blah. So you're only going to pick the negative ones and come here and stand up there and tell us this is a bad project. You know, like one of the speakers says, he's worked around fuel. Well, I worked around fuel and oil for 42 years, and I'm still kicking over here. I was a diesel mechanic for 42 years, and I'm still living, and I'm in good health with a slight cold tonight. But, you know, don't use those as an excuse so we won't deny a business owner a project that he spent millions or thousands of dollars to develop. So I say is this, you know, yes, you got your opponents, you got your supporters. Yes, we have to sit up here and wave that. But to stop and think of the other projects in this city or the revenue. Well, why didn't they say a thing about the revenue for the Cottonwood and Paris gas station? Is that going to bring enough money in when we got 50 gas stations in the area? I don't think so. So my thing is this is a good project. I don't know the owner, the developer. And I say, you got a good project. Our staff thinks we got a good project. So let's get it built. Thank you.
You know, this is a difficult decision, obviously. I think that, you know, just recently, we didn't actually deny it because the developer actually withdrew his project at the one JFK, the gas station on JFK. But we were pretty much, I mean, we had already done deliberation and it looked like it was going south with that project. And so I'm having a hard time, you know, understanding, you know, I mean, that project is actually farther away from the school than this one. I do understand both sides. You know, I think we had a lot of public speakers here tonight, a lot of speakers, you know, that were in support of it. But I think there were a lot of speakers that were against it as well. As far as, you know, the emails, you know, I've gotten emails from both sides, you know, positive and negative. A lot of the negativity or just the contrary towards the project. I do agree with parts of it, you know, as far as especially the schools part, you know. So I'm a teacher in the daytime, and, you know, I do know that, you know, there are students, whether we want them not to be doing that or not, they still ditch. There's kids that ditch school, and that happens. And that happens in high schools, that happens in middle schools, and there is a middle school right there and also an elementary school. So that's one of my main concerns is the kids walking by there and probably getting those types of things as well. And then the other main concern is the homeless and the loitering part. You know, we can say, or folks can say that, you know, we're going to have a lot of protocols in place, cameras and all those kinds of things, but I've seen it. I've grown up here my entire life in Moreno Valley, and I've grown up that every time when we put a gas station there, it's just not maintained. And a lot of times that's probably the fault of the, who knows, maybe the developer or the owner or the management team or whatever, but it's just not maintained. And I am for pro-growth. I have always been for pro-growth and pro-development and jobs, and I mean, that's one of my main things. In fact, in 5 years, we brought 17,000 jobs into the city. But what I could tell you is, I also believe, though, that you have to consider what the public wants. And what the, so maybe my opinion, my professional opinion, I guess you could say, is that a gas station it can go there. But in reality, you have to really consider what the public wants. And maybe the public isn't ready for something like that right there in that moment. As far as the residents that I've seen, especially during the election and the last election, I spoke to a lot of you that were out there and in the community, as you know, and you know, I know who you are. And so, anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to keep my comments short. And okay, Councilmember Thornton.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know many of you worked all day, and this is a great thing about these meetings is having public participation. So being able to hear both sides. I read the initial study environmental check was about 50 pages, every line of it. I spent 5 years on the environmental board here in our city and about 3 years on the traffic commission. So some of the points that you all made who are against this project really resonated with me, right? There are some areas that we still have some questions we need answered if this project gets approved. From hearing that there were 6 people killed at that intersection, right? There sounds like we need to do a traffic study perhaps there to figure out if this project is approved. And even if it's not approved, right? If there's been 6 fatalities there, that's a huge issue. And then also, you know, hearing about gas stations bringing down the values of people's homes, right? That is something that is an issue. And so, you know, if this project were to get approved, I would challenge the owner. You know, we can't mandate you to keep up the landscaping, but that is something that, you know, we wouldn't want to have to be employing our already stressed code enforcement department to have to reach out to the owner to ensure that all those plants and all the flowers that are there are not, you know, are continuously maintained. So that's another issue. Based upon the general plan, I was making a joke with my family, like, you know, when you buy a home, you see an empty lot. Before I got in this position, I would just think, oh, that's a beautiful empty field. Well, now I would ask the question, who owns that field? What is that field zoned for? That field is zoned for commercial, and it always has been, right? For like, 19 years? Inland Land Group came in and said that they've been owning that piece of plot this entire time, and they went out for a bid, and the only interest they got was the gas station. And so for all you residents that came up and spoke, commercial's coming. Whether it's this gas station or something else, something commercial is being built there. Not houses, right? But commercial. And so that's something that you're gonna have to, I don't know, talk to your representative about, but that's something that's coming there eventually. I am very supportive of development, and this is a reason, because we need revenue in our city. When you look at the amount of revenue in a graph, if all of the income that's coming in, property taxes bring in small amount. Sales tax, that brings in a large amount. And not everyone can afford Chevron or Shell, which is over by Moreno Beach or over by Paris. I shop at Arco. Arco is normally at a lower price point. Yeah, they charge you that 30 cents for your debit card slide, which irks me, but they're lower price point, right? And so for those individuals who cannot afford Shell or Chevron, they'll shop at Arco. And I'm just thinking about all of those points. But I hear you. I hear you concerning the residents. I feel so much empathy for you, especially the ones who are close, that are now having this potentially built next to you. And I've listened to you, so thank you so much.
Okay, we have Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. And
I don't want to be repetitive, so I concur with Councilman Cabrera and Mayor Gutierrez and Councilwoman Thornton. And my concern is what's going to happen with the advent of electrical cars? You know, are we going to need as many gas stations? And I guess to city manager, I could say that, you know, that's something that we need to look and plan for in the future. But as far as the speakers tonight, it was 10 to 9 against, so it's pretty fair amount of people that came out on both sides. And I did get some emails, and I hear your concerns. And same as the mayor, I'm pro-growth, pro-development, and but I hear your voices. That's all I want to say right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the deliberation. Okay, and then at this time, if the council wishes to approve the project, there can be a motion, if there is a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve the project.
Okay. Okay, motion by Councilmember Thornton and a second by Councilmember Marquez. Okay, please vote. This is to approve the project. Okay, it is denied. Okay, the second part. Second part. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. It is clear that there is no approval. I would recommend that there is a motion to deny the project with instructions to staff to enumerate the reasons that we have heard here tonight. Basically, the incompatibility with the neighborhood, the traffic issues, all of the things that those of you who are not in support of this project enumerated. We will memorialize them in a resolution, which will be provided to the mayor to execute. So I would recommend a motion that basically directs staff to do that, and this way a resolution of denial will be prepared as a final action of the council.
Are you going to do it? It's your district.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we do not approve, that we deny this project as presented. And like the city attorney said, that we include and enumerate all the comments that were made here tonight for the next council meeting.
Actually, the motion would be that you authorize the mayor to execute that resolution, and it will reflect your thinking, not necessarily everything that the
thinking of the council.
the public spoke about, because your reasons for denial reflect that.
And
Okay.
then I'll sign.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to deny the project and to enumerate the comments that the council has made here tonight for the mayor's signature.
Okay, I'll second it.
Councilmember Marquez.
Councilmember Marquez? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight for this item. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay, thank you and welcome back to our regular city council meeting tonight. We'll go ahead, we just finished item E2, so we will now go straight to, joint consent calendar sections A through D, and then after that we'll do public comments on non-agenda items. So all items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, and D, are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion. We'll go ahead and see if there's any council requests for discussion or items. If there is, please press your request. Oh, well, we've got to do public comments. Oh, okay. Okay, but so now we'll go straight to public comments. Thank you so much. On consent items. Madam Clerk?
Rafael Burgueras.
Okay.
Good evening once again, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and our guests. A7, I'm grateful that the staff is working with Edison to replace 700 lights, remove the old system, and put LEDs. So we are friendly environmental in the city of Moreno Valley. We do listen. We do comply with laws and rules. We do things. And what I need staff to do is explain to me on the fiscal impact in the back. Premiums will remain on the city's utility bill for 20 years. I don't know what that means, so maybe I'll get an explanation on that later. Once again, we're moving people around in our staff. We got a new hiree, and there's promotions, Andrew, and there's people being transferred around to different departments. To let the council know that Kevin left us and moved on, and Amanda Parks Ranger, she moved on also. So we lost 2 good staffs, and hopefully that way we will be able to replace them with 2 more good staffs. So that's important to me. I want to thank once again Marshall for his payment registry. Development is important to the city. You heard it today. Houses pay very little in revenue. It's commercial that brings the revenue. Sales tax brings the revenue. That's very important to continue to remember that. When we designate commercial property to be commercial property, that's very important to keep it that way. Very important. Okay, A12. A grant. And this is basically for those animal lovers, really. We're going to redo the animal shelter. And for our seniors, we're going to do the rec center with that money when it gets approved tonight. That's something that, is dear to me, where there's a place for people to go, get warm, have conversations, and especially for the kids, for sports. We saw a lot of them this evening here. That's what Moreno Valley is well known for our sports, our activities for the youth. I'm grateful for that. And once again, thank you again.
Thank you, Rafael. Madam Clerk, any more speakers?
None.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, second by Councilmember Thornton. Trying to be fair. All right, and it's approved. It's approved. 5-0, and we'll go straight to items on non-agenda items. Public comments on non-agenda items. Just wanted to make sure we get the consent calendar out of the way, because that is the city's business there. So, Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have for non-agenda items?
We have 5. Adeline Matre, John Denelovs, Ray Bleckert, Rafael Burgueras, and Adolf Kruger.
Okay, if we could have those 3 speakers come up, please.
Adeline?
Adeline? Is Adeline, Miss Matre here? Okay, see none, no Adeline. Oh, is Adeline? No, that's not Adeline. Okay, all right. That's Candace. Okay, we'll have. No, no. Go ahead, John. Go ahead. Nice try, though.
Agenda. But first thing I want you to know is I do love Moreno Valley, and the mayor knows I love him dearly. During the election, I was probably the only one that put your stuff through. Well, the reason why I'm here is that I'm kind of an activist. I try to tell people how to do things legally and try to get people heard. One of the problems we have is Gladys Johnson's not the problem. The problem was the deputy that beat him up was the problem. And the former captain tried to cover it up, but God works in a mysterious way, and we got a new sheriff and hopefully a new police chief over there. So reason why I'm here tonight, and when I have to spend $3.50 to press one of my Hawaiian shirts that's always wrinkled, I wish you guys would listen to me. On January 28th, on my birthday, it just happened to be that day, I showed up here with Gladys and Nene Johnson to get a permit to do a protest. And all we want to do is put up a sign and say, hey, we don't want Captain K to come back. We want new changes on the police station. Like, for example, when you come into the city hall, we should be happy and friendly. First thing you see is a sign that says police department. I didn't come for the police department. Put that sign over there on the other side. Let's make this a little bit more friendlier, because Moreno Valley, guys like Gladys, if you look on his police report thing, he's considered black. He's not. If you review his camera, he had gray hair, and he had to leave because he's on medication. The deputy that beat him up, he was already disabled. Now he's further disabled. And then they try to have him, what do you call it? Well, they're trying to prosecute him for domestic, police brutality, or, assaulting the police officer. Both cops didn't have their cameras on. So that's not what the issue is here. The issue I'm here is, all of a sudden you guys send us a message saying we need $1 million insurance policy and $217 to protest. Well, I can tell you folks, I know how to protest. This is a protest. And hopefully I can drum up more people to spend 3 minutes of your time to tell you we're protesting. And I would love to see somebody beat me up now to collect $217 because I'm not paying, right? There's another way I can protest. I can stand outside out there on public property and tell you, the mayor, I love him. I love the mayor. Go ahead. Go ahead, beat me up. I'm going to have a sign that says I love the mayor. Are you going to beat me up for $217? Are you going to arrest me because I don't have the insurance policy for the protest? No, you can't do that. So what I'm asking is, please, the clerk, the city manager and the assistant city manager was wonderful on that day. You guys were wonderful to us. All of a sudden, you guys turn ugly and you want money from us. It's not going to happen. We can pay that once the city pays him for the millions of dollars you owe him for getting beat up. All right? His name is Gladys Johnson. Please help him out. He's in your ward, doctor.
Okay. Thank you, John. So I just wanted to clarify. So you said it's a citation?
No, it's not a citation. We're asking for is a permit to protest. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want the police department to know that there's 3 people, one in a wheelchair on a corner, and we're not rioting. So that way they don't come up to us and say, hey, what are you guys, rioting? I said, no, I talk like this all the time. I'm not rioting. We want to do it legally. We're giving respect. And when you give respect, you expect respect back, not a bill for $217 before you can even do it. That's the whole thing. And the thing that bothers me, if you can produce a document that prior to January 28th that shows that you had a policy for people protesting, because all I heard that day was, well, this is the first time we've never had anybody protest before. Nobody's ever asked us permission to protest. You don't have anything before January 28th. What you have after January 28th is ludicrous. $1 million? Jeez, I wish I had $1 million. I won't be here bothering you guys.
Good.
All right?
Thank you, John. We'll take note of it, and we'll do some research on it.
Just contact Nene Johnson and Gladys Johnson. You guys have them in the system. And I have the information, but I'm doing what Captain K did. I don't live here, but I get to go talk to anywhere, but I'm not lying. I'm just stating the facts. All right? Thank you for the additional time, by the way.
Oh, okay. Actually, I lost track. Go ahead. Okay, Roy?
Can I get some additional time?
Go ahead. I didn't even know we had the timer on.
I apologize
that
to
one.
council and I did address the issue of C4 and G1 of last meeting. I did turn in the one of the many blocked emails to the city clerk. But to put it on the record, on C4, the Cottonwood and Indian Park, and of that, you need to go back. I would request that you go back and look at the 1/13/09 meeting when the money got switched, and you need to see the document I have from John Terrell, the former economic director, in 2014. Besides that, there's some concerns with the developer that was proposed to do that park and projects that were done or not done and cost the city money, extra money, and did that get paid back? And I would say that information needs to be out before you make a decision on that. Same with the one on the police contract. I brought up some concerns when they first did that. The report that the first company made did that. Why are we hiring second consultants to go over what the first consultant screwed up in the first place? We need to redo that whole thing. Second thing, I was at the Planning Commission Thursday night. They had on their agenda the general plan amendment. We're 2 years behind where we should be. We should have had a general plan amendment in 2016. This council, as my understanding, approved $1.75 million in 2017. Councilmember Cabrera, you stood right up there about 2 months ago and said we're working on it. It's been 2 years that I brought, as I told the Planning Commission, and I will congratulate Commissioner Barnes. He asked a pertinent question: what's going on? Silence. Except the city attorney said, yeah, they did appropriate the money. I've been up here many times asking for that. There's issues, just like gas stations, the Winchell's one and everything else that went down, and there's issues that need to be solved, just like what we went through here. If you're going to make this community work, and I'm going to bring it up, as Tom Owings said, you zone your properties to their highest and best use. We have a desperate need, especially with World Logistics Center and all the other developments, to reshape that general plan so it does streamline the process, so businesses can come in here and go over the counter, and we're not wasting a lot of time or a lot of developers' money and stuff, as I think we just did here again. If you want to make this city work, you want the revenue coming in, make it business friendly, do the job that you did, and we can do it on Mill Creek, and we can do it for half the money. My phone number is 951-208-9967. You got an open invitation to talk it, debate it, anytime,
Thank you,
anywhere.
Roy. Okay. Next speaker is Rafael Brugueras, followed by Adolph Kruger.
Good evening once again, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and guests. I was glad to see all the youth here today and the parents. A lot of Hispanic parents that are proud to see their young sons and daughters get awards, because it reflects the family and how well they're doing for their kids. That's something that the Hispanic culture has. And they have very little, but that's a lot to them. Really, that small piece of paper hanging on their wall means a lot to them, because they're giving their all to their sons and daughters, and that's why we have programs. This is why I love the community service, the rec center. When I go there once a month, I see all the kids in there playing ballet, karate. I see it all. It's fun. I can't wait to see it be fished up a little bit more with the grant that just got approved. So it's going to be real nice for them. I learned something today. I learned that commercial property is not commercial property. I learned that, because we can have a set of people come in here and change everything. We saw that tonight. There's a purpose why that's there. I want to know what's going to happen next month when somebody wants to build Burger King, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Winchell's, and all that stuff there, and we got all these cars now stopped there. buying food, idling in the parking lot, drinking their coffee and listening to music while they're having their donut. That's a fact. You know what I like about the gas station there? At 2 o'clock in the morning, there's no traffic on Iris at 2 o'clock in the morning. Boats don't come there through the week. They come on weekends. Okay? The funny thing is that the crowd that was here tonight is the same crowd that was at the Planning Commission arguing the same problem. And what I like about the commissioners, they saw through it. And that's why they voted 6-1 to pass that, to approve it. And they said it right. It's meant for commercial. And that's why they voted the way they did. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to sue us, because even Gonzalez, he said it, there's other means. We're always going to have that threat here, council members and mayor, always. We have to be strong. And if they're going to vote or sue us, let's take it to court. Let them handle it. Don't give up.
Next speaker is Adolph Kruger.
My name is Adolph Kruger. I've lived in this city for 47 years. And nothing has changed in all those 47 years. It's still the most corrupt city on the planet, period. 2 months ago, I asked, hey, people read President Herbert Hoover's book, Freedom Betrayed. Has anybody read it? No. Or what, you can't read? And, okay, things are just same way. I talked to the, your lieutenant and the officer about problems, racing streets up and down, very loud, and racing up and down the streets. They're still doing it. They'll keep doing it because nobody does anything. Bustamante has been at my home 3 times at least. Last 2 times I told him, hey, you don't talk the language those people understand. I know they're Mexican or whatever, okay? They don't understand the language the police are talking about because they're still doing it. They've been doing it for years and they're still doing it. So what? You don't know how to talk to people that are breaking the law? Just like here. I went out to the car, get this sheet of paper. I was walking out, a motorcycle drove in. So loud the ground shook. I talked to a lady officer. She said, well, no, that's a motorcycle. Oh, that's okay. No, it's not okay. Read your vehicle code. I've got a copy of it. I bought it in 2011. I read up and all. They're all the same, okay? Same dB reading as a car. If you hear it more than 200 feet away loud, it's too loud. It's against the law. But nobody does anything about it because you're afraid of them. It's not, none of the, I've had so many policemen in my home. Hey, I've had 33, since 70, okay, I'm 79, when I was 71, 33 policemen I cited, okay, for not obeying the law, and that nothing is done. Oh, it's sent to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Yeah, the Moreno Valley Police is from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They don't care. They don't do anything. They just keep right on doing their little thing, not doing anything. Because a lot of times, it's their own relatives that are breaking the law. They don't do anything. Okay, it's just like years ago, Mike Coleman, I don't know if you know him. Hey, Coleman Estates is where I live.
Kruger,
they think his
thank
family thought they owned it.
Mr. Kruger, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any more speakers, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay. Okay, leaves us to public hearings. We'll go straight to E1, public hearing for 1 national pollutant discharge. Okay, report of Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. As indicated, this is a pretty standard NPDES ballot proceedings for a development project. This project includes industrial buildings located at Cremaria and Indian. Conditions of approval require that they satisfy the NPDES requirements. The property owner has elected to do a ballot proceeding to satisfy that condition of approval. This is the NPDES parcel charge that affects the one property owner, which is actually 3 parcels. So for tonight, we're holding the public hearing, and then absent any compelling testimony, we're recommending to close the public hearing. We're also recommending that council approve the action to conduct a ballot process. We'd like to accept those results, and if a yes vote, then set the rate. So that concludes the report, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Michael. Any council questions of staff on this item? It's just very routine. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the hearing. Public testimony, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay, hearing closed. Any deliberation, if necessary? Okay. First, we'll direct the clerk to go ahead and open and count the returned NPDES, so that I entertain a motion by council to approve staff recommendation number 2 to go ahead and direct the clerk to do so. Okay, a motion by Councilmember Thornton is second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Go ahead and vote. Okay, and it's approved, so we'll go ahead and wait. See what results are.
One ballot weighted for 3 counts. Yes.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and entertain a motion by council to approve staff recommendation number 3, which is to go ahead and receive and file. Okay, any motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second. Second by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay, go ahead and please vote. Okay, leads us to item G1. It's approved.
Mr. Mayor, may I just add, there's actually
Who's speaking? Who's speaking?
There's an action item number 5.
I think the motion that was made included numbers 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes. Okay, item G1, general business, streamlining the transportation uniform mitigation fee. We'll go ahead and have a report of community development.
Good evening, Dr. Mayor Gutierrez, members of the City Council. The item before you this evening is a request to adopt an ordinance that will amend administrative procedures of the city's current municipal code with regard to calculation and collection of development fees for the Western Riverside Council of Government's Transportation Uniform Mitigation Program. This program is commonly known as TUMF. As you're aware, TUMF is a regional transportation fee program. Almost every private development project that is processed through the city entitlement process must pay these development fees. There's a few exceptions. Under the current TUMF regulations, the cities have responsibility for ensuring that the fees are both calculated and collected correctly. The cities are required to submit TUMF remittance reports to the WRCOG. To ensure that this administrative steps are performed correctly, cities are then subjected to an annual audit by WRCOG. If errors are identified, cities can be found liable and must work with WRCOG to dispute or to try and correct the errors. WRCOG is an 18-member agency, and all the member agencies are required to follow the same procedure I've just described. Over the past 2 years, the WRCOG itself conducted a comprehensive review of the remittance reports and their processes. Reasons for the review centered on a number of errors that they were seeing in the miscalculation of the fees. They had to return $300,000 in reimbursements to developers, and there were several conflicts that were arising with cities based on the dispute between the interpretation and the trying to resolve some of those disputes. Consideration was also given to the administrative and legal costs that were involved not only by WRCOG but the various cities that were in the midst of these disputes or these interpretations. There was also identified possible risk for project delays, and that they had identified that there were numbers of years these disputes were taken to be resolved. They weren't things that were resolved quickly. So as a result of that assessment, WRCOG determined that one way to reduce the challenges and also improve the efficiencies of the process would be to allow the cities to elect to shift the responsibility for the calculation and the collections to WRCOG itself. This process would be very similar to the way the Moreno Valley Unified School District or the Eastern Municipal Water District handles their fees now. This policy change was vetted by WRCOG through their various committees and subsequently to their board executive committee in early October of last year. The TUMF administrative plan was amended to allow WRCOG to perform the calculations and to collect the fees on behalf of the cities. And at that time, they determined to let the member agencies decide how they wanted to proceed. What they asked for at that time was that the first step would be cities to determine if they want to opt in or not opt in. That was during the months of October and November. At that time, your city staff evaluated it and determined that this seemed like a viable option that we should be pursuing. The next step that WRCOG asked for was if you elect to opt in, then you need to take a local TUMF ordinance amendment before your elected body to make sure that they can confirm that they want to opt in. That's where we're at tonight. The next step, and the time period they gave for that was between the months of December and months of March, so we're right in the midst of where they asked for. After that, WRCOG said that if the ordinance had become effective, they would sit ready about April 1st to start collecting the fees on behalf of the cities. As far as we know today, most of the cities will be opting in. There's only the county of Riverside itself and maybe 2 other cities that have elected not to participate, but 15 of the 18 member agencies appear to be going in the same direction that we've recommended this evening. City staff has evaluated our TUMF practices against the findings of the WRCOG assessment. The recommendations we find for the opt-in option would be prudent for the city and is therefore recommended for the City Council to introduce and conduct the first reading of the ordinance before you this evening. Upon introduction of the ordinance, then we ask you to take action to schedule for the second reading and the adoption of the ordinance at your next regularly scheduled council meeting. This concludes staff's presentation.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, if I might sum it up in a sentence or two. Right now, fees that are paid to schools and the water district, for example, are levied and collected by those agencies. TUMF would be the same way. RCOG would levy the fee, collect the fee, be responsible for all the audits and the collections. So that's really the precedent that's being set here, and that's why staff recommends making this change for TUMF.
Any council questions of staff? Seems very routine. Public comments, Madam Clerk? Oh, okay. Oh, we do.
We have Rafael Burgueras and Roy Bleckert.
Okay. Rafael and Roy Bleckert, okay?
Good evening once again, Mayor, council member, staff, residents, and our guests. I had an opportunity to read this, and the staff is recommending that we designate our responsibilities to someone else for the sake of arguing and making mistakes. As you just heard, the staff mentioned, sometimes errors happen. You got to go back and correct them. So what we're going to do is give someone else who's been around for many, many years the responsibility to do it for us. Collect our fees, and then they will give us what belongs to us. Okay? The good thing about it is that we're not going to have 3 major agencies being audited all the time. It'll be just less audits, as we see in the fiscal impact. We're going to help Community Development Department, Public Works, and Financial and Management Services, okay? So the good thing about it is that we're going to be able to use the staff to do other things for the city of Moreno Valley, okay? So there's going to be the cost savings for us. We're not going to lose anything by allowing an establishment agency to do our work. We have many of them doing them now, some, okay? Most of our work is contract from other places, and that's okay. But it's a good idea to allow them to be responsible, and if there's any errors, it'll be on them, because that's what the staff is saying. If there's any errors, they will be held responsible. And like we do with many contracts, we hold them responsible for actions that occur in the city of Moreno Valley. It's a good idea. Let them be responsible. Let them collect the fees for us. And then we'll be, once again, allowing our staff to do other things for the city of Moreno Valley. And if somebody has a complaint, they can go to them. and get it done and get it fixed. Thank you tonight.
Okay, thank you. Roy Bleckert.
Well, I have no problem with streamlining the process and letting WRCOG collect the fees directly. My question is, what precipitated this? We all know the Beaumont situation and many others that we're on with collection of TUMP fees are not collected and lawsuits and potential cities going bankrupt. So my question is, have all the TUMP fees been collected and passed on per my talks with WRCOG, how it's been? The city collects the fees, passes them on to WRCOG. Has that been done in all the cases? Or are we back owed, or does this city potentially owe hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to WRCOG that wasn't collected? Everybody shouts transparency, but you never hear these things. And then you hear the deals that get slid under the table, or the potential. I will put you onto Nason Street Bridge. Has to do with that Cottonwood and Park in the video from January of 2009. How we almost got into trouble on that one because we didn't follow the rules. Most of you don't know you were about this far from Moreno Valley going bankrupt. If you don't believe it, talk to Tom Owings. You don't like him? Talk to Rick Tykert. Because there was one other person that was going to the meetings that was talking there. And he's sitting at this microphone. Transparency cannot be a buzzword. Transparency is let us know what is going on. Throw it out there and let us decide. We cannot make decisions on who we want as our representatives, and our representatives cannot make good decisions if they're not getting complete and accurate information. So I don't know exactly where the problem is, or if there is one, but I'm seeing a lot of cracks in the dike every single time. And that's got to stop if you are true to your promise and you really are working for this city and you really are representing the people. Because if we're not being honest about what's going on, if you're not honest here, then that's going to put out questions. That's going to make the rumor mill run, and that hurts us all. So please, let's get everything and the facts of everything up on the table. Then we can deal with it.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Okay, Madam Clerk.
No more speakers, sir.
Okay. All right. Council deliberation, if any. Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion by council to approve staff recommendation number 1.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Marquez. Second by Councilmember Cabrera. I think someone hasn't voted. Okay, there we go. And it's approved unanimously. All right. We'll go straight to City Council reports, and we'll start with JPC. Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Okay, thank you so much. Tonight I'm providing the update for the Joint Powers Commission meeting held on February the 13th. The commission heard an update on the JPA's legislative agenda and upcoming trip to Washington, D.C. With the rain we've seen this winter, and we were happy to confirm the JPA's intent to continue seeking funding for the Cactus Flood Control Channel improvements between the I-215 and Heacock. There are 4 property owners along the channel. So far, the funding commitments have from all except the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Yeah. JPA representatives will be meeting with the USDA in Washington for their request for support. We also heard an update on activity at the airport, March Inland Port. They're experiencing substantial growth. Over 700 jobs have been created there. I was also very pleased to hear that they've had no noise complaints related to the Amazon Prime air flights. And that concludes my report for the JPA.
Can you also do the
Okay.
joint task force since you're already there?
Yes, we met today. And our meeting was held at the museum at Lake Paris. In addition to the city representatives from we had representatives from Moreno Valley Police Department, the State of California, Lake Paris, Moreno Valley Community College, Moreno Valley and Val Verde Unified School Districts attended the meeting in addition to Think Together, an after-school program. The Active Transportation Program, or the ATP Cycle 4 grant application was successful, and the California Transportation Commission approved the state's recommendation to fund the remaining Juan Bautista de Anza Trail from the Moreno Valley Mall to Lake Paris through the city of Paris and all the way to the city of Menifee. And this was an $8.33 million award. The Val Verde Unified School District Police Department is growing fast and currently has 5 officers. For those of you that don't know, Val Verde Unified has its own school police department. Within the next few weeks, the department will be bringing on an evidence clerk, a canine unit. In addition to the chief, the goal is to have 10 reserve officers and 5 sworn officers and 1 sergeant. The California State Parks Lake Paris reported that the lake is expected to be at full capacity by the fall and is only 6 feet below ideal levels. Moreno Valley Community College is in the process of updating the comprehensive master plan to include an education master plan and a facility master plan. A community forum is scheduled for February 28th to obtain community input. Input can also be submitted online. In addition, community and campus sessions on March 25th and April 25th will be held to present the ideas about strategies and provide the draft plan for input. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have a report from RTA, and that's Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna try to get through this without coughing to death over here. Beginning March 4th, RTA will host the first of 9 community meetings to gather feedback on our proposed fare changes, the first in more than 10 years. If approved, the first round of changes will go into effect July of this year, and the second round will be in July of 2021. If you have any questions or want some more details, you can go on the website at www.riversidetransit.com. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll have a report from our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I'll be really brief tonight. I just want to address a couple issues that were brought up in public comment. First, a speaker expressed some concerns over the application cost and insurance requirements associated with a special events permit. The important thing to keep in mind is that any individual or any group that wishes to seek a special event permit for an event on public property, they would all face these same standard requirements. The most important thing to keep in mind for the gentleman and the council and the community is that these requirements have nothing at all to do with the message that anyone wishes to convey during a special event. It's just for a large gathering in a public space. That's why there's the application fee and the insurance requirements. Another speaker this evening was asking some questions about TUMF and the collection of TUMF fees by the city and submission to RCOG. The most important thing to keep in mind is that WRCOG has confirmed that Moreno Valley meets all of the requirements for distribution of Measure A funds. We have to be compliant in the TUMF program in order to qualify for Measure A funding, and we have been so notified, and the Transportation Commission has been so notified. The genesis of this, there's nothing at all sinister about it. ARCOG reached out to their member agencies and said, hey, we do this for a living, this TUMF program. You member cities, you do a whole bunch of things, and maybe just a small part of what you do has to do with TUMF. How about if we collect it for you? And it was met with resounding support. The only concern that was expressed when I was at a city manager's meeting, several of us wanted to make sure that right now, like Moreno Valley can work with a developer and process a TUMP payment very quickly. We wanted to make sure that the development community wouldn't lose any time by working with ARCOG. ARCOG assured us that developers will be able to do quick turnarounds either in the office or online. So we think this is a really good program, and it's being put in place for really good reasons. And that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, City Manager. We'll have a City Attorney.
Thank you. Nothing tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go straight into closing comments. First. Okay. Can't find it, but go ahead, Councilor Marquez.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to all the residents that came out tonight. I know things didn't go everybody's way, but, you know, we do have to listen to the residents here, but at the same time, we also have to look at the city's revenues too. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Secondly, the Veterans Administration out of Temecula is going to be holding a suicide march in April, and this is done annually. This is our second one. Last year we had over 200 participants. This year we have close to 1,000 participants. School district met today with their supportive. County supervisors, District 5 is supportive. So we're getting a lot of some very interesting agencies coming in, and a lot of donations. So if you want to donate to this worthy cause, give me a call, and I'll give you that information. And it benefits the suicide veterans in the area, in the region. And they have a lot of medical problems, and this organization would like to help out. And with that, say good night, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councilmember Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Mr. Michael Wolf for giving me a tour of the City Yard last week. If you don't know what the City Yard is, it's where our street sweepers and individuals from code enforcement are housed, and they did an incredible job. The team, you know, when we're having weather and flooding, right, they're out reporting to those events and making sure that streets are cleared, and that if there are areas that are receiving flooding, that's being dealt with. So I really appreciate him taking the time out to give me that tour. And also, I think we all received a briefing on pavement management, right? I learned something new. A pothole only lasts 6 months. If this is being recorded and you're watching it, now you know why around month 8 there's a new pothole there. So I really appreciate him explaining the science of pavement to me. It was a very interesting conversation. In general, I once again, to piggyback off Councilmember Marquez, want to thank the residents for coming out. That was a hot topic. But in general, you know, my principles, I'm always going to be supportive of diversifying revenue streams for our city and supporting endeavors that really bring up revenue so that we can invest that in things like pavement, right, and getting our roads redone. We could only do that if we have increased revenue through sales tax, sometimes property tax, and other avenues. One initiative that I really want to work on as an individual, and I'm hoping to get the council support at some point, is I retired from the military in 2017, and the veterans issues is something that's really dear to my heart. California has the largest veteran population out of the entire nation at 2.1 million. with Riverside County being the third largest veteran population in the state. And thinking about veterans who have been honorably discharged from the military as potential economic development drivers, right? Every honorably discharged veteran is tied to federal dollars. They have the benefit of having their GI Bill, which can be used at our local colleges like Moreno Valley College or at UC Riverside. They have access to a VA home loan where they can then purchase a home in our community. And each military member who leaves leaves with a, of course I'm biased, a strong work ethic and a skill that would be a great benefit to the businesses in our community. And so packaging that in some way to benefit our city, to incentivize businesses and schools to hire vets, and to bring them back home and to retain them and helping them transition from the military to the civilian sector. So that's something that I'll continue to be talking about and advocating for us to develop programs for, not only in Moreno Valley, but throughout the region and the state. So thank you so much for giving me this time to talk.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Thornton. And when you're ready with your plan, for the veterans, if you want to just let maybe Mike Lee know, and then we can put it right on the economic development subcommittee. But definitely, you did share that with me, and you have my full support. Okay. All right, so we have Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. And one of the residents, actually a couple of residents, brought up the general plan update, and that's something I mentioned before. And I think that is something that we should get done as soon as possible to avoid situations like the one that we had today, where because the general plan, as of I think it's about 12 years ago, maybe that property was zoned commercial before, but it's been 12 years since we really looked at that for the whole city. So I think we need to really get the ball rolling there and take the next step after appropriating the funds. I think there's an item on this on the next finance subcommittee meeting, but hopefully the general plan update is something we could work on. Other than that, I know there's a lot of events coming up. I was at the museum over at the lake with Mayor Pro Tem Baca. It's really, really nice right now. The lake is almost full. I think it's like 6 feet below capacity. So there's a lot of, it looks really nice out there. If you get a chance to drive by or take your bike or go for a hike, it's beautiful out there. We also have the Race on the Base coming up pretty soon. Thank you, Parks, for putting that together. All of this is on our Facebook and our website. Also, the Public Safety Expo, that's coming up in March. That's a pretty exciting event. It's always well attended. We also have Springtastic coming up in District 1 at Sunnymead Park. And the San Juan Bautista Trail. We got that awarded. Thank you, staff, for working on that and securing that funding. It'll be nice to no longer see those empty, vacant lots there, cutting between all the houses, and so I think the residents will be happy to see all of that developed, and it'll be a trail connecting, which Eric Lewis earlier mentioned. You'll be able to ride a bike from the Moreno Valley Mall all the way to Menifee, is the way that he put it. And I'm sure he'll do it because he rides his bike nonstop. But other than that, just I think today was a pretty good meeting. I'll keep it short because I usually talk a lot. And thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you. We have Mayor Pro Tem Baca's comments.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilman Cabrera, for your comments. Yes, it's my understanding that you can even ride your bike around the lake now, 10 miles. So if you have a bike or you want to walk around, 10 miles. But it can be completed now, and thanks for mentioning that, Councilman. I also want to announce the 8th Annual Veterans and Small Business Summit, which will take place here at our own community recreation center. Conference and Recreation Center on a week from today at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you're a small business, a veteran, please come and support. We'll have lots of vendors, and I want to thank the staff for supporting this event and the City Council as well for sponsoring them. And I look forward to lots of people attending. So if you know anybody, make an event. There's a flyer on my Facebook page. Copy it and make sure you get a lot of people there because we need to support them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Baca. I do want to remind the public that there is the 2019 Mayor's Cyber Cup, which is coming up this Saturday at Moreno Valley College, if you'd like to attend. I do also want to mention that I was really happy that the kids were really excited, and I already can see that they're already posting pictures and all over the place. So that's awesome. That's great to hear. Tonight was a difficult decision, I think, for a lot of us here tonight. But obviously, I think the main issue that I had, and I still stand by, is the community outreach and the community involvement. I've always stressed that. I think that with, for example, the WLC project, I think there was a lot of community involvement done. I think there was about 1,000 residents meeting once a week with the developer. There were a lot of outreach tools and things that were done. The Planning Commission, just to give you an example, approved a project, I think it was maybe about a month ago, hundreds of apartments off of Cremeria and LaSalle. And my understanding, it was a whole bunch of hundreds of apartments in a retail location, and they didn't even have one opposition, one member, opposing it. And so to me, that tells me that that developer did a really, really good job in reaching out to that community and talking to them and making compromises. And that's what I heard, that the developer actually went to people's houses, like this one did too, but this one actually compromised in the kitchen table in really working with them and really calming the community down. So I do believe in that. I believe in the community outreach, and also that's the main reason why I supported that. And also, I don't have a district as the citywide mayor. I don't, but I do believe in being district driven, and I think that Councilmember Cabrera, that's his district, did outline the reasons, and so I support that decision. So I do want to close in memory of Amanda Briones, and also a recent teenager that was just killed in a hit and run. He was only 14 years old, and so I know the case is still being investigated, but I want to close in his memory.